Order, order! Mr. Speaker, I have never had to raise my voice in this parliament since I was elected by my constituents, but today is that day. What you are doing, Mr. Prime Minister, is not only an affront to our species, but an insult to the galactic community and our allies on the Citadel. And on my career, I will see that before my turn is up, you are removed from that chair. Order! The member for Eden Prime Colony will resume his seat.
Howdy folks, I hope you're thoroughly enthralled by that intro. I know I am. Danos is back with a slightly different type of video. I'm going to be telling you about an idea of mine, but we're going to go through it a step at a time this time. As you can tell from the title, Mass Effect. It's a series that's enthralled me since it came out, all those years ago. I'm even playing 2 new playthroughs right now, with 2 different characters. There's just no way I'll put down Mass Effect, and I'm sure that's the case for many of you too. Right from that fateful day on Eden Prime in Mass Effect 1, discovering the threat of titanic dreadnoughts hell-bent on organic extinction are drawing their plans against us, we'll lose weeks of continuous play until we have enlisted the fleets of our allies to lift an apocalyptic siege of Earth in Mass Effect 3. So the premise for this video is assuming somehow I've been given the reins at Bioware, and Mass Effect 4 is under my direction. No pressure, dear customers. Someone with no marketing experience is here to help. I'm going to go out on a whim here, and say that the canon ending to Mass Effect 3 was the Destroy ending. I understand that it would be a bit silly to simply bat away Control and Synthesis, as they were legitimate player choices, and I know some of you have those as your favourites, but there could be some workarounds. For instance, in the Control ending, we could suggest that of their own accord, the Reapers repaired the relays and spanned the circumference of the Milky Way to remain on patrol in dark space for the rest of time, so their involvement was pretty fleeting. If you have any suggestions for how to get around the same thing with Synthesis, let me know in the comments. So, without further ado, let's get underway. Mass Effect 4 working title. As you can tell, that's a working title. So, instead of fighting indoctrinated Turians, mutilated Protheans, or sentient warships of myth, you would be fighting the Alliance itself. In a series of unforgivable events orchestrated by the Macbeth of our time, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Human Systems Alliance breaks apart and descends into an explosive interstellar civil war, which pits the loyal forces of the Alliance clinging to some semblance of unity against the Shakespearean reactionary despot that has ascended to head of state. Having been branded traitors by this new government, your character and their friends and colleagues strike out against former commanders, subordinates, and even family, in the hope that the Alliance will hold together as the Council races watch on, reluctant to step in once again. Having been weakened exponentially by the losses from the Battle of Earth, the Asari, Turians, Krogans, and either the Quarians or Geth or both fear that entering the conflict will not only be in no one's interest, but will cause yet more devastation to their fleets and citizens. If you did not win the support of the Solarians in Mass Effect 3, they will essentially control the Council, having not spared any ships or manpower at all, and thus, the struggle to convince the Council to intervene will fall on protectionist Solarian ears. But of course, you would be dealing with a completely new Council, possibly with other races on its committee, at a completely different seat of power, as the Citadel was mostly destroyed by the Crucible, most likely beyond repair. So let's roll back a bit and look at how this situation starts. A few, maybe around 1 or 2 Earth years after the end of the war with the Reapers, the galaxy is steadfastly recovering economically, politically, and socially from near extra-galactic annihilation. But all is not well in the minds of the many populations of the major civilizations. Some have called for sweeping radical reform when it comes to aliens, traitors within their own ranks, crackdowns and future defense preparation, a reactionary trope that has returned following this deadly wake-up call for jingoistic xenophobes and their quickly expanding club membership. Suddenly, and quite naturally, everybody starts blaming each other for the mistakes made during the war. For example, the Asari received huge backlash for their cover-up of Prothean technology. To summarize, tensions are high. In the Human Systems Alliance, the devastating destruction of Arcturus Station had disastrous effects on the political climate in the colonies and the faith in the Alliance itself by Earth. If the Alliance was to rebuild properly, it would need to secure the trusting voices and votes of a loyal constituency. After this reparative period, serious and properly organised democratic alliance-wide elections to elect the entire parliament were to be started. The then mission of this entirely new parliament would be to appoint a prime minister from the party with the majority of seats. Unfortunately, in Mass Effect's setting, we have no workable background on the parliament, appointment of the prime minister, or how the democracy actually works, so some creative licensing will be needed on how this actually works. So, the polls close, and this is where you start your journey as the protagonist of Mass Effect 4, having just voted. The default male and female for the game will be the brother and sister team, Artemis Wild and Juno Wild, with the option of picking the other set of pronouns if you want your character to identify with the other gender, and the option of gender-neutral dialogue too. As one of the two Navy siblings on leave, you will have gone together to your local polling station to vote for the Member of Parliament candidate for the colony of Elysium, an important location we haven't yet to visit in Mass Effect. Of course, you can customize both the siblings, just like in Mass Effect Andromeda, which affects how your mother will look, who is slaving away preparing lunch for you at home. The both of you are walking back from the polling station, exchanging comments on your views and giving you a sense for how you want your character to be. You arrive home to Mum, elated to see you, and serves you your meal. You're given a chance to learn about how this family unit is made up, and as you begin tucking in, the Alliance News Network in the background says that the extranet has reported the results. The Progressive Action Party, Forward Humanity, gains an almost majority to form the first post-Reaper government. However, they have had to form a coalition to secure the majority of seats. Forward Humanity's leader forms a coalition with a new and dangerously populist movement and their leader, Constantine Stave, who gained the fourth largest share despite being the newest party. Stave becomes Deputy Prime Minister. Cameron Gerasimov of Forward Humanity becomes Prime Minister, with the added political comments from your mother, who didn't vote for either of their parties. The televisual display changes to an incoming vidcall request from the Wild Siblings executive officer aboard the ship that they're on leave from, the Alamo-class frigate SSV Marathon. The Marathon has been assigned as part of the Prime Ministerial convoy to the first colony outside of the Sol system, as part of a planned tour for the Alliance Premier to visit the rebuilding colonies across human space. As part of this tour, PM Gerasimov attends the accompanying celebrations for the end of the Reaper War. The opening scene of this is by the Sydney Opera House at a civic event underway with a traditional Earth orchestra. The Wild Siblings are in attendance as a treat for the crews before they leave Earth with the detail. We see this beautiful vista of Sydney Harbour and... wait, hang on. This wouldn't be a Danos video if I didn't just show you it, so I'll let the shots speak for themselves. I absolutely love this sequence. The addition of having Asari and Quarian violinists adds a level of detail I think Mass Effect should show. I think a film level quality would really do this justice. I'm sure the style and technology for traditional orchestras is way more advanced, but I think these kinds of human historical activities would remain, and even be taken up by migrants and enthusiasts from other species. I realised whilst editing this that this is a lot of information to absorb, so if you're interested in hearing about how the next part goes, let me know in the comments with your likes, subscriptions and hyping it up, because I'd love to go into detail on how the conflict properly begins, in more of a dark, sombre Part 2, where the Deputy Prime Minister makes his move. I'll be working on my next Coalition videos as well as a Part 2 for this, so until then, dear audience, take care and go stick on Mass Effect.